Welcome to Rule Zero. I am Paul Bauer, your host today. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. For the love of God, don't be stingy with those super chats. And please
unsubscribe from Aaron Clary.
No. I'm too tired. I'm too tired.
So joining me on the panel today, we have Concrete Cappy. What are you pouring concrete? What are you doing?
am. Have you guys ever dug holes and poured concrete?
I helped my dad do that a few times.
I did.
Once or twice, yeah, as a kid.
Then you guys know what I'm not kidding. It is an incredible workout. Like that, you do not have to go to the gym, and I look good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did that in Portugal, but goddamn, we had to like put in logs in the holes because we were building the foundation of a new stage.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, those logs! We had to carry those logs up the mountain.
Yeah.
And these weren't like thin logs where it's like, oh, you're a normal little palm tree. No. These were like,
and not to go for the low hanging fruit, but you girls are so fucked without us. You girls are so fucked without us.
Women, what are women?
So Jack, when you're carrying the logs, was it like the movie Commando where you're just got a tree on one arm and a chainsaw on the other, and you're just walking like a man, like an 80s testosterone man?
Dude, you will never know how weak you are, even if you go to the gym, until you need to carry logs. That is a way different type of strength. Holy shit. That is so different. I would recommend everybody to do it at least once so you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to have carbs when you do it. Trust me.
I ate hot yoga. Yoga. You need to eat breakfast for hot yoga.
I
would think that hot yoga would make me vomit, like in the heat, the intense heat of it. No,
like hot yogurt.
No, he was like to recover.
No, I fasted. I went fasted to do hot yoga, and by the end of it, I thought I was gonna die. It was.
I'd imagine you need to at least hydrate for that. But Nuke, what's up with you, man? You carry any logs recently, or what are you doing?
Just the log of Twitter.
Heard enough.
Log of Twitter. That's it.
All right. Right. I don't know what's up with Twitter, but I'm getting like no engagement anymore. I don't know what they shadow banned me or something. I don't know.
No, you could have adjusted their algorithm.
You're not shadow banned, Paul. What's happening is that Nuke is just taking over Twitter, and none of us are relevant anymore.
Oh, right, he's taking all the oxygen out of the room.
It's the politics. Everyone's so focused on politics that the engagement is moving toward like everything that happens, every shooting, every whatever politician says, every celebrity, everything is centered around politics. So we're gonna just like Rollo said, the red pill is gonna get less engagement over time until
until after the election.
Yeah.
Speaking of politics, what's up, Red Hawk?
Oh man, I'm here for it. You guys are speaking my language now, so it's a fun time to be in.
Wait, did somebody say white supremacy?
No.
Oh no!
Nobody.
Wow!
Channel. There it is.
And
thanks, Jack.
I love you. I missed you.
Hey, Red Hawk, I saw that you were on Ryan's channel this morning.
Yeah, I just came from Red Morning with Ryan, so here I am to hang out with you guys.
How's that guy doing lately? I haven't talked to that guy in many a moon, as they say.
Ryan's doing his thing. He's got Wrath of Khan review is coming out pretty soon. Everyone go check out his Orion channel. So
I still need to watch King of the Kickboxers thanks to him.
Oh, I finally watched that. It's bad. It is such a bad movie.
I love it already.
Oh yeah, that's why it's good. It's an 80s, kick you in the balls karate movie. It's perfect.
Excessive nudity for no other reason than it's awesome.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right. So
just remember, in air. No, go ahead, Paul.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna make a reference to Airplane, where fantastic movie, and all of a sudden, a pair of tits just walks on screen. It's like, yeah. Just randomly shakes there. Yeah, that was good times. Good times. So we're going to be talking about the top 20 cities in the U.S. where the number of single women outnumber single men. So in theory, dating should be easier
Right? That's the idea, right? Or do you think it's just a massive cope, like being a passport bro? So we're going to talk about that. But guys, I have a goal. I'm trying to build up my memberships. I'm trying to get 10 memberships in 30 days. I've got 5. So if you guys like the content, do consider becoming a member. Let me play a little ad that I made for that, and then we can get to the topic at hand today. Every single hour, men struggle in silence. Men who are facing rejection, confusion, and the pain of feeling lost in relationships. Thousands of men have found the support they needed, but for many others, help comes too late. Hi, I'm Paul Bauer. Will you be a supporter for men in need? Every day, men like you face challenges of dating, holding frame, and breaking free from nice guy syndrome. But you don't have to face these struggles alone. For just $2.99 a month, that's only 10 cents a day. You can join my YouTube membership or become a Spotify subscriber, and you can help keep this podcast alive. Your support ensures that I can continue to create content that helps men. Men just like you. I can continue to help men overcome these challenges. By joining now, you're not just getting access to all older archived episodes. You're helping me keep this mission going. Together, we can reach more men who need help, guidance, and support. Right now, there's a man who needs you, and your membership says, I'm here to help. Please join today. Your support is making a difference. Oh, did you guys see the Sarah McLachlan one I did of that? Anyway, we do.
Question.
Yeah.
What do you give members when they become a member? What do they get?
They get a shout out. So hold on. Here's CW. He's one of my new members. He's gonna get this one here.
I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Yeah. What's up, brother? They also get access to all my old episodes because all new episodes are free for the first 2 weeks, and then they're membership only. Okay. So that's what you get.
Do they get Q&As? Can they ask you special questions for membership streams?
I don't do membership streams
yet.
I might consider that, but for now, you just get access to all my old shit. So, let's get into the topic at hand today. So we have. I had a guy in my beer club, and he says, "Hey, can you do an episode on the top cities where there's more single women than there are men, so therefore it must be easier to date?" And I was like, that's a cope, but sure, I'll look into that. And then I also needed a topic for Rule 0. So I was like, so I looked into it, decided to make that the topic today. So I did find, I do have a list of 20, and some of these, like, actually there aren't 20. There aren't 20 where there's more single women than there are men. So spoiler alert. And we probably won't get through all this whole list today. And the ratio isn't as big as you think for any of these. So, well, but that being said, let's get started. The top one here, we have Washington, D.C. Have any of you guys been to Washington, D.C. and checked out the dating scene? Anybody?
You'll never find
no. That's
all I heard was Roosh's stories about it.
Roosh said it was really a great place back in the day, back when Nuke was 5 years old.
Yeah, back when I was diapers.
Royce
back when Cappy was 7 years old.
That's right. Royce was in DC too.
Yeah, Royce from DC. That was what his old blog was called. So that, but I'm surprised it's still such a haven for the female to male ratio. In all honesty,
yeah. So the ratio though is it's 1.2 single women per single men. 1.2. It's really not that big. But if you extrapolate out, right, 100,000 single guys, that means there's 120,000 single chicks, which means there's, in theory, 20,000 extra chicks to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Let me explain this, because this is going to be an important math, basically, phenomenon to understand shortages. And it really depends on the elasticity of the product you're talking about, not to bore people. But let's say if you have a shortage of, say, 10% in gasoline, do you know what happens to the price of gas?
Goes up.
Yeah, but does it go up by 10%?
No.
No,
It's
it
not
goes
so
up
linear.
by like 30 or 40%. Other things they're not linear or they're not exponential, but usually when you get to shortages, if you have a X% shortfall, you're going to have a 2, 3, 5, maybe even 6X increase in price. And so a 20% shortage is actually very significant. Now, I don't know about the quote elasticity of dating, but if you got a 20% shortfall of anything, it definitely becomes like a buyer's market, and whether it's housing or girls. So that is, even if it's 20%, we're already talking something very significant.
Isn't a nonlinear scale called an logarithmic scale? So it's affected by different factors at a larger degree?
Logarithmic is one, that's orders of magnitude, but it could be exponential or hyperbolic or parabolic. I mean, it depends on but the for the here and now, it just because there's a 10% shortage does not mean there's a 10% increase. It's usually, I'd say that would probably make men anywhere between 40 to 60% more valuable in that market.
Oh, thanks. That helps. Appreciate that, Cappy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's good to know. So since none of us have been in DC to go dating, I did look up some fun places that you could go if you are a single guy and you want to go check out the scene there. There's a place called DuPont Circle. Anybody heard of DuPont Circle? It's known for its vibrant nightlife, cafes, and bars. You might meet a chick there. Nuke. Do you ever pick up chicks in cafes?
Cafes.
Yeah. How's your Starbucks game?
Okay, so there's this new thing, right? Where coffee shops food markets, like where you pick up sandwiches and salads, and wine, like a wine bar kind of where you buy wine as well. They're starting to become one-stop shops for this, right? So in the morning you can go pick up your coffee, then in the afternoon you could pick up some lunch, and at evening you can have a bottle of wine, right? The wine is usually pretty cheap at these places. So it's a great place to take a girl because it's a very relaxed, more quiet atmosphere, and you can have a bottle of wine with a woman at a coffee shop. So I don't pick up women in these places because it tends to be like a very, quiet and I know everyone there, and I don't want to be that guy that's just constantly there picking up women, but they're absolutely amazing for first dates, right? So be on the lookout for that, guys. Fusion places where they have it's like a coffee shop and a wine bar at the same time, and it's a more relaxed atmosphere and it's quiet. Great to get. The chairs are small, the tables are small, so you get more relaxed atmosphere closer to your date and all that stuff. So
Okay. So once you've already gotten the chick in DC, now you have a place to take her. All right.
yeah, but this is all over the United States. Most modern places and cities have these kind of like fusion of different beverages, right? Social beverages. So just be on the lookout for guys. Do your research when you're looking for date venues, and for picking up women. It is good, but don't do it like if you live next door to one. Don't necessarily, make it your watering hole, because people will start to notice you as the guy that goes there to pick up chicks. You want to be the friendly guy that everyone likes and all that stuff. Like if you're going to bounce around a little bit, like mix and match, because you don't want, because then eventually people are going to this guy is just he's the neighborhood, guy that does this, so yeah.
You don't want to develop that reputation. Hey, look,
Exactly.
we got another member here, my number one fan, Nurse Chick. Hey, check this out, Nurse Chick.
I'm so naughty.
There you go.
That's what was that?
That's your drop there. Well, like you're an AI scientist, Nuke. I used AI to make that drop for her. So
nice. We're all AI scientists in some way or another.
Man, I use AI so much, man. It's ridiculous. So the next place here in Washington, D.C. is U Street Corridor. It's a hub for music, bars, and late night dining.
Makes sense.
That would make sense.
I hear they got a sale on stabbings there. Buy one, get one free.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, speaking of, they were doing a report on a shooting here in Dallas, and then while they were doing the report, a shooting happened. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it was just I just saw it and I'm just like, holy shit.
The world you grew up in no longer exists.
Yeah, which kind of goes into today's topic is the crime rate. You don't want to date in a place where girls feel scared to go. You know, where you don't want to live in a place where girls feel scared to go. So that's very important, guys.
Where you go to set up a date and they're like just afraid to go out because they think that you might be a serial rapist or something.
No, they might be afraid that you get robbed during the date.
Well, that's why you got to learn how to fight. Where the hell is John Fitch? Anyway.
Yeah, you gotta be intimidating like John.
And then we have the Adams Morgan neighborhood. It's famous for its diverse bars and live music venues. Next on the list, you guys might have heard of this place. It's called New York City. Washington, D.C. is kind of a liberal town, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both
super liberal,
wretched hives of scum and villainy.
Yeah, and so is New York City. Interesting that there's a bunch of single women. Do you think that there's more single women in liberal cities because those women are insufferable?
Well, now that you mention it, that was something my thoughts went to as soon as you mentioned Washington, D.C., where it's like, isn't that like as blue can be? Like more blue than Papa Smurf? It's like, is there a reason guys don't want to live there? Is there a reason? Like that
the number one reason is the rent price.
Oh, that too. Although,
yeah,
how
it's
do
cheap
women?
to be a
How
girl.
can? Yeah,
it's really cheap to be a girl in a blue city. It's very cheap. That's all I'm going to say. Cappy knows what I'm talking about. It's very cheap to be a girl in a liberal city.
Fair point.
Why? I don't know. Why? They face the same. I know they get some advantages, and mommy and daddy will help them with rent.
That thing you like to do on weekends, most guys prefer a girl doing it.
Okay. All right.
$20 is $20, Jack Napier.
Hey,
$20. Well, in New York, it's 25 because of inflation and rent price.
Right.
So it's 25.
Exactly. Yes.
I think Nuke is onto something though. With,
and South Dakota, let me tell you, I could charge 18 out here at the truck stop. It's pretty cheap out here because the prices are so low.
So something I've noticed about, like, let's say New York versus like Dallas or Houston, like a more blue collar kind of, is that here in Dallas, what is Dallas known for? It's known for people finding jobs, trying to find a better life, you know? So people kind of focus on their careers and doing things that are worth a damn, right? Whereas cities like New York, you can be a freelance artist. Like, obviously the rent's expensive, right? But people live in these like small box apartments and figure it out. But like, I feel like what a city's reputation is will affect your kind of outlook on and desirability to live there, right? If you're a hardworking guy, you probably don't want to live in a liberal city, right? Even if the girls are hot, because you know, I'd rather live in Dallas because Dallas has a lot of opportunities, and there's everyone else I live around. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a head nurse at this clinic, or I own this company, and I'm like, you're around people that are like striving, you know. When you go to New York, I'm not sure that that's the same type of people. Yeah, you have some corporate bros, but a lot of people will be like not have real jobs and stuff like that, and you'll be like, I don't know if I want to be around these people. So that's just something I noticed about like blue cities, and women love blue cities because it's blue.
Why,
Like,
Nuke?
I don't know
why. What's
Well,
there?
there's-
What's in the blue cities? What's in the cities, Nuke?
well, drugs are easier to find in blue
Where
cities. Women
all
love their
the
drugs.
action is. It's where all the
Yeah.
action.
Yeah,
I would say, in addition to all this with New York City, and it predates, but it still continues on, the effect that Sex in the City had on women's choices to move there and
Oh,
the
yeah, there's that too,
romanticism. Yeah, that was now obviously that effect has died down, but there's still a dwindling percent of young women who, I'm going to go to New York, I'm going to become a writer, and then we're going to get the culture and flirtinis and all that. Again, less with the Zoomers and Alpha, who are more like, I'm just going to be emo-y and look at my phone. But that did rub off on I'd say a lot of 30-something women now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe that. So in New York City, so the ratio in New York City, it's pretty close to DC. It's 1.18 single woman per single man. Now the places there to go to possibly meet these women is East Village. East Village.
that's the
is that the
expensive part.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought, is that in Manhattan? I thought Manhattan was the.
There's several expensive. That's like probably the cool hipster area.
Manhattan is the borough. I think East Village is the neighborhood.
Okay.
Right, guys. Anyone from New York in the chat? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, someone from New York sound off in the chat.
We are banned in blue states, I assume.
What's that, Jack?
That we are banned in blue states, I would assume.
Yeah, they just block us. They have like the Great Wall of China, and they just block the YouTube stream.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense because women get hit in New York City, like they get punched in the face, right? Wasn't that a thing for a while?
That was a trend,
like,
yes.
Yeah,
well, maybe they talk back, Nuke.
Isn't that interesting that like
that's terrible.
that women flock to this city?
Snaps.
Yeah, women flock to this city, but like there's like actual violence against women. Yet I'm supposed to be, just like, are you guys okay? Like, what's wrong with you people?
In defense, that was like one guy causing a disproportionate amount where that phenomenon was going on. But generally, yes, women will face more crime. Everyone will face more crime in Democrat leftist cities.
Yeah. Well, we're all disarmed for our own protection in those cities.
Exactly. And that I enjoy. See, because here's what we're going to inevitably have to hit on here is how women wanted this. They willingly moved to downtown areas where all the culture and action is. Then they vote for policies that make it very expensive to live in these towns, and also vote in the policies to make it that there aren't any real men to want to date in these towns. So it's very interesting watching large Democrat-controlled towns, because this is their utopia. Generally, not all, but generally women vote for. And so it is very interesting to see what would happen if, quote unquote, women were in charge. You have these microcosmic municipal experiments happening, and this is what they're going to get. So yeah, men are kind of eschewing these environments while women are gravitating towards them. But are they really successful and happy would be another question.
We all know some women just like it so rough you can't distinct it from domestic violence.
That's
different
true.
Strokes for different.
That
folks,
is true, Jack Napier.
No, I think I might want to push back a little bit on Cappy's statement here. And
wow.
How dare you disagree with me, Red? Don't you know who I am? God damn it!
I'd be very interested, actually, what you think about this, Cappy, because I don't know if I give so much credence to the women voted for this thing, because I'm kind of the opinion that I don't really think the voting really matters that much. I think the results kind of come from the elites that are in the positions of power, either in these states or in these counties or in these cities. And I mean, you look at something like immigration, for example, which has been consistently voted against by 85% of Americans since the 1960s. And still we just get unlimited immigration every single year. So like, does the voting even actually really matter? Do you actually have representation in this thing? So I don't know if it's
okay.
reasonable.
You're talking.
You're saying it's rigged. Okay.
The rigged elections aside, or the efficacy of voting and policies, whether Republican. Okay, fine. Women generally, not obviously there's male Democrat voters. You see it especially pronounced, not just in immigration policy, but all policies involved in municipal governments and at the state level, that these cities sit within. And I would also say women generally vote more pro-immigrant. It's not men saying welcome all refugees. It's self-loathing white women who just, I don't know, have a hole in their soul. They are disproportionately bringing about an environment, immigration only being one of many different variables here, where you would have more crime, higher rent. For example, would you believe that women generally vote for rent control more?
Oh yeah.
Generally, not again. There are men who will vote for it. Right. Women vote to help out the poor. Do you ever? Let me ask you this: have you seen anyone but a middle-aged white woman give a bum money? Because that's all I've ever seen is middle-aged white women just can't. They'll trip over themselves to help some degenerate go get his heroin money or his booze money. So yes, the likelihood of voter fraud considered, there are other things women vote for and culturally support that bring about these environments where there's 20, 30, 40% more women, less men, And it also correlates with higher cost of living and ultimately a lower standard of living on all fronts, whether that's San Francisco or New York, stepping over human feces, higher taxes, commutes, traffic, whatever else.
I think I would definitely agree on the culture side of it, because it's what we talk about, right? Men racist, defective women, right? And you just saw this a highlight. I don't know if you guys saw this clip going around, but there was one of these like man on the street reporter dudes who was at the DNC in Chicago. He was talking to a bunch of female Democrat staffers, and they kind of like let the cat out of the bag, where all the Democrat staffers were saying, well, all the Republican guys are really hot, but they're evil, right? And so that actually tells you more about the situation, about female nature, than like supposed voting records have any effects on things. Like, I don't know. I just don't really think that many people think about politics in this way. Like, oh, I actively voted for XYZ thing. I mean,
no, they don't make the connection. Absolutely not. But and here's I mean, not to go off on too much of a tangent. This could all end tomorrow if women wanted it to. They could have, they could vote the opposite way with a mandate, making it very clear we want whatever, tough on crime. We want more cops. We want illegal aliens kicked out. We want less traffic. They could vote for it. And I don't care what women say behind closed doors. It's what their actions are. That's everybody. I don't care what somebody says. What are their actions? And when you see large leftist metropolitan areas, they tend to be more feminine's the wrong word. Matriarchal, I guess, would be a better word.
Feminized.
Feminized. That's a better word. Thank you, Jack.
It's still men in charge, so they're feminized men.
But the policies, fine, okay,
fine.
You got a bunch of feminist pains in the asses who live in cities. Does that, and now they got their feminist consequences. Does that satisfy? You say, don't, but technically this policy, I got it, Red Hawk. One time they voted one way. I got it. Can we go with the the general theme that San Francisco is more feminized than, I don't know, Kansas City?
Yeah, I would say that.
All right.
I just like that here in Dallas they did an A-word rally. The women did the unaliving babies rally once, and it got shut down in 2 hours. We were like, we got to go to work. Can you please move? And everyone went home. It was, and I saw it from the news. Like, yeah, it's just, that's what I'm saying. Like, just abandon blue cities. Really, like, I know New York has beautiful women. I'm not going to deny that, right? But and every city is kind of blue as compared to like surrounding suburbs and country towns and stuff. But for the most part, if you pay attention enough, there are cities out there that are very good for men that want to date, men that want to work hard and build themselves, right? Men that want to go to college and be surrounded by hotties, but also study something of worth. And yes, a lot of them are becoming liberal shitholes, right? But like a city like Austin, right? Austin gets a lot of shit, and it is kind of dirty compared to the other Texas cities. But what city that is? Austin's like literally the Miami for men. Like, women there are, if you're a young man that wants to go to college and also sleep around a little bit, get some experience with women, Austin's a great place. You're in Texas, you can carry a weapon if you want, and it is kind of more conservative than LA and New York and Miami, right? But there's also hot chicks there, right? One of the easiest places to get laid for a guy is Austin, Texas.
But it's not on the list. So
see, and that's what I was going to ask, Paul, is how many because women are gravitate towards certain whatever socio-political environments as opposed to others. Like a Miami, how's that going to contrast to cities that Nuke is mentioning? Miami, Austin, Las Vegas is another one where there's a lot of economic growth, there's a lot of opportunity, but is it culturally attractive to women? And I would also argue with you, not argue, but agree with you, Nuke, that in times past, men would go where the women were. Like, I got to go to the city to where women are. Now, especially with the internet, men are being much more judicious in where they go and investing. Like, no, where are the jobs? And also maybe where can I get the women? So, Paul, is Las Vegas or Miami even on this list?
Miami is. Las Vegas is not.
Okay, very interesting. All right.
Yeah, Dallas is too. Dallas
I
is
think
They
I got an interesting point to add to this right now, Cappy, on the question of culturally conservative cities and such like that. So I'm down here in Tampa Bay, in Florida, right? And it's very, very interesting to see the change from going up in the Midwest to coming down here, and just being here for a couple of weeks, seeing the kinds of women down here. They're just openly like, will adopt conservative messaging because that's the culture of the area around here. And these are some very, very attractive girls. And like the meme of like, oh, if you're in like the rural area of like somewhere in the Midwest, the only attractive girls you find online are the ones with kids, right? But you're here in like the downtown area, because like the culture as such is more right wing. It's very interesting to see how many women will just have it in their profiles, like, oh, Trump 2024 and such like that. Not that like you want like a political woman, that's not what I'm saying, but it's just interesting that women will mimic the culture of the area that they're in.
Yeah,
I have never seen so many women with fish pics and hunting pics than in Texas.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Oh, you need to come out here to the cow pasture.
Yeah, whenever, like, if you have Tinder Premium, I think, and it tracks where you're going, right? Which is good. If you travel for work, Tinder Premium's great because you will be at the top of the pile if you move like more than 20 miles, right? And then like if I go to Fort Worth, the pictures of the women start becoming like her hunting, her like literally a dead animal, like holding a deer or something. And then if you go back to Dallas,
Or
right,
the frame
it's like,
announcement.
yeah, it's women just at bars and at like little liberal events and stuff like that, at food trucks, doing food truck stuff and all that stuff. So it's very interesting how women kind of just wherever the local culture is, they just they kind of adapt.
Interesting. Since we're still on New York, we'll move on here in a minute. But Dark Knight Dev sent a $5 super chat. He says, "I'm here in New York City. It's mostly tech, finance, or union gigs like doorman, bus drivers, and train operators, where you make $100,000. 7 and 8s live in Queens."
Very interesting.
I'm going to give him this
Straight
one.
from the yeah, I trust Dev for a reconnaissance. He's in it. He's a man in the arena in New York.
Is Queens having a renaissance? Because that was kind of one of the bad boroughs to be in. But now, I mean, if there's 7 and 8s in Queens, what's happening in Queens? Because when I was a kid, it was the Bronx and Queens was the bad part of town.
Like it got gentrified, gentrification. Maybe?
Yeah, but Queens, yeah, that's right, Duke. You're kind of young. So the Bronx, which they made a movie, Rumble in the Bronx, with Jackie Chan, but it was filmed in Seattle, which is funny. But then yeah, Queens and the Bronx were the two boroughs you wanted to stay out of. But that'd be cool if all of a sudden the girly girls are over in Queens now.
That is interesting. The next town on the list, guys, is Boston, Mass. Beantown. 1.12 single women per single man. Some fun places there. You have, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Faneuil Hall, Quincy Market? It's a bustling area with bars, restaurants, and street performers. You have the Seaport District, and then you have Back Bay. I don't know. I've never heard of any of these places, but I've never been to Boston. Have any of you guys been to Boston?
Not in 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
A long time.
Well, 15 years ago, well, how was the scene?
No.
You were a baby.
How was your middle school spelling bee competition, Red Hawk? How was that in
I think
Boston?
I think I was a senior in high school when I went there last. Yeah, a long time ago.
All right. Well, let's move on then. We've got Atlanta, Georgia. Any of you guys been to Atlanta? I've been to Atlanta. That's actually a pretty cool town.
Yeah, I went there recently. I've been there a couple of weeks ago. I was there.
I went there a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got 1.1 single women per single man. And there you've got Buckhead, known for its night end clubs, bars, and nightlife. Midtown, cultural nightlife hub with bars, clubs, and restaurants. And then Virginia Island, which is a laid back area with bars, cafes, and live music. You also have
traffic is bad. I heard
You
traffic
also
is
have-
really bad.
Traffic is really awful there.
You also have Waffle House on every block, which is fucking awesome.
Perfect. Sold. Sold. I love Waffle House. It's like Americana, but ratchet. It's ratchet Americana. I love it.
Yeah, and with fights and bullets. Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
time.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like Denny's. It's like Denny's, but shittier. Yeah. That's
I don't know.
I
Something
love
about the grease. The grease I just like.
It's better than
Why don't,
Perkins, right?
look, why don't you all just go White Castle? Okay, if we're just gonna slum. All right, we're just gonna
I did
go.
have White Castle in Minneapolis, Cappy,
I'm
when
sorry
I
for you.
2021.
All right, probably you didn't know which White Castle you were at.
Checkers.
Oh, sorry,
and
Perkins.
Rallies.
Perkins. I meant to say Perkins, Cappy. I had Perkins in for the first time in 2021.
Good.
It's pretty good. I like the service. It's pretty good.
I don't know
I
who
understand.
Not at the Perkins up by Cappy's place.
Yes, the Rapid City Perkins are all shit. Don't come here.
Yeah, I went there with Cappy one time. We couldn't get a fucking pie at 10 o'clock at night. Like, what the fuck, you know?
You got one job, man. You got one job.
I did stay I stayed at a hotel once right next to one of the Walmarts in South Dakota, Cappy, right in Rapid City on the north side next to the Pirates Cove golf course.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about.
I stayed at that Quality Inn there once, and man, that Walmart had some awful characters walking in there. Fucking hell.
Yeah. If you like black women, Atlanta's for you. That's where all the black women are.
Yeah, it's like 60% black city now, isn't it? It's a
You
huge
know what's fascinating? Going back to Waffle House and in Georgia. I was in Orlando with my son earlier this year, and we were at a Waffle House, and they had plaques on the wall in every one of the Waffle Houses of people that work there, and they've been working there for 30 fucking years. And I'm like,
holy shit.
I'm like, what kind of benefits and what's the pay like where these people
The
want to
retirement
stay?
plan.
They want to stay at the Waffle
stuck.
House for 30 fucking years.
Every Waffle House
It's
has
like-
like that Patricia boomer white lady. It's like 35 years old. So I'm working there for forever.
Calls you Shug.
Yeah.
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 Baby. Sugar. Yeah.
Hey, Shug, would you like some more coffee? The next one on the list is Philadelphia. 1.09 single women per single man. Jack, you've been to Philly.
I've been to Philly. Philly was nice. Really?
Yeah. Did
I
you
love
guys? You were there with the Masculine Geek crew.
I
right?
was there with Rob and Vince, and it was, in all honesty, it was absolutely amazing.
I love how Jack goes to one of the shittiest cities in America and thinks it's so amazing compared to.
I had a shit ton of fun. Why does my camera look so weird? That doesn't matter. I had so much fun there. I really did. It was so much fun hanging out with Rob and Vince, and everybody there that we met was like very pleasant. Plenty of very attractive women there. Because I was asked about that, like, what's the obesity rate like compared to the Netherlands? And it wasn't that much different, in all honesty. Really wasn't. Even like in the, how do I phrase this? On the non-Caucasian persuasion, there were even plenty of women that were very attractive, like very attractive. So yeah, might be right. If there were more women than men, though, I really didn't pay attention to that. It was more like Hawk knows how I work. It's like, go. It's like,
Yeah, this is why the women in your town, Jack, are more attractive than the ones in Philly, at least from my experience. But
well, Swola is not my town. Swola is not my town, really. But I do get what you mean. I do get what you mean.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But I am making plans to come to Tampa, my dear friend.
This is
Damn
one
right.
of the
We're
things
gonna do
that-
we're gonna do a reconstruction of what we did here, but we're gonna do it in Tampa.
Sweet.
Guys, this is one of the things that I wanted to sort of bring up in this, though, right? So Jack goes to this town. He notices these hot chicks there, doesn't pay attention what the ratio might be.
No.
He's just there to have a good time, right? Like, do you think that trying to focus on this sort of thing as your sexual strategy is kind of a cope? It's kind of like,
No.
You
No,
don't think so?
No. Okay, here's the thing. Because Hawk did mention it, and you would notice as well, Paul. Let's say you're a little bit homebound. I mean, I get it. I'm homebound. I mean, I showed you guys before the stream started what I bought myself. And when you do like online dating and shit like that, when you live in the more rural areas, the less crowded areas, the results are going to be, well, let's be honest here, kind of abysmal. If you go to an area where the ratio is in your favor, but not only the ratio, also the living conditions. Like, what's the climate like? Like Hawk mentioned, the further you go down south, the more pleasant people seem to be, the more they take care of their appearance, etc., etc., etc. So there is value to your geographical location when it comes to dating. So no, it's not a full code.
Well, it's like what Cabby was bringing up earlier, though. It's like, don't just move to a city because there's like a great ratio of women to guys. It's ridiculous. There are other things you should be, well, again, that word should, right? That you should be focusing on, right? I mean, yeah,
it is a code.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I do too. I'll let you speak here, Nuke. But like my concept is, if you don't have game where you're at, you're not going to have game when you go to a town with more chicks, right? So,
facts.
What did you want to say, Nuke?
It's all about logistics, right? My neighborhood, half these women here look like Margot Robbie and Sydney Sweeney, right? And that's not because I have game. It's because I have the money to pay for rent in these really small localized areas where the streets are made out of brick and stuff like that. So when it comes down to it, ratio does come into play, right? But 80% of the women or people here in this neighborhood are women, from the ages of 25 to 35. So it's more about localization. Like, guys need to do the freaking work and go and do reconnaissance and find these areas within the cities they want to live to. Maybe go take a trip before you move somewhere, that if you're really interested, and just go to some neighborhoods, right? Like, walk around. Like, are white women running at 10 p.m. at night, going on runs? That means it's a safe neighborhood, right? Those are the things. That are walk into a bar, say hi to people. What do you see about the people in this area? Like, oh, they look like my age, and they look like working people. Like, they don't look like influencers and dumbasses. They look like people that have jobs and lives. And are the women in shape? How many gyms are there in the area, right? I live right above a hot yoga studio and right next to other yoga studios. So the women here are all pretty in shape. So those are the things you want to find, because in every city, whether it be Philly, New York, Miami, Tampa, Dallas, there's smaller pockets where there are fit women, where there are hot women. And it doesn't matter the ratio, because the ratio of Dallas could be like 0.5 women to 1 man, but I am where the ratio is 80% women, 20% dudes, and it doesn't matter. It's just like a localized. You have to use a microscope and do some work and research before you go somewhere, and it'll give you the answer.
Well, that's good advice. Definitely. There is a secret if you're out there and you're in a city where there's not many women and they're not all that attractive, and you want to improve your odds or probabilities of having great dates and dates with the hottest chicks in that area. Here's the secret. And my friend Jay and Sterling will concur on this. It doesn't really matter whether the woman is pretty, fat, ugly, wrinkly, or not. You need to throw out your riz and your game with all of them. That creates an energy that the hot ones are like, well, why is he talking to that ugly girl? He may not even be that attractive, but he's expressing some attractiveness that they notice, and it's not coming their way. And man, that draws a ton of attention, even if there's only 2 girls there. That seems to be a really good secret. If there's not very many women in your area, is to be sure and be super social and to kind of treat them all the same in that social environment. You guys will see that's pretty damn amazing how that works.
Well, another reason why that's a good idea too is that when you treat all women the same, like what guys tend to do is they treat the hot girls a certain way, and then they treat the ugly girls like with indifference, and they end up putting the hot girls on pedestals. But if you treat all women the same and you treat them all with indifference, right? You treat them all sort of like human beings. The hot girls look at you a little bit differently, because they're like, wait a second, why is this guy not putting me on a pedestal like these other guys?
Yeah. And I do think there is actually covens of boss babes, because I think there's a big social component to show each other off. It's part of their competition anxiety on how much of a 304 can I be. So in some of these cities where there's high concentrations, this is just strictly spitballing and being out there. I haven't been very social in the last few months, but
yeah, where it's very popular for them to be a certain way or project a certain image. So it appears as though to us sitting on the outside, man, there's not very many women, or oh my God, they're all in a certain way. They're all 304s. Everything is bad. But I think that on some of these cities where you can find an overage of young women or women in general, you got, 40% more women in an area, you will get attention just because of the probabilities. It's a good way to stack it in your favor.
Yeah.
Women are hyper competitive in cities. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, it's just when they go out in groups, they plan, they buy
hunt in
dresses.
packs.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they buy dresses and stuff 2 weeks before going out and stuff because they want to look good and
Yeah.
all that stuff. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
I
It's
think the
really
biggie.
noticeable, and I've tested it out. I work in an area I'm not going to say, but it is in Southern California where there's a lot of immigrants, and we'll just say it is Chinese, Taiwanese, all that sort of very, very heavy in the area. It has a name for the area, which is Little China. And it's amazing if you're a very pale skinned white guy with blue eyes, now you don't get direct attention, but man, you get IOIs just like triple of any other groups. Just something about their culture, and for some reason. Now, maybe they're all wanting Cappy to marry them so they can be a citizen. It might just be all gold diggers. I don't really know. They're fresh off the boat looking for that, stake in the ground. That might be the case. I only know this because my crews work in the area, so I see it from afar. So I could be wrong.
Yeah, that tends to happen. You hear that a lot from guys who go to Asia, especially like tall blonde guys. They get swamped with attention. It's insane.
I think it's true.
Yeah, no, if you're tall and blonde and you go to Asia, holy shit, you're their new king. You are their new ruler.
Did you guys see this UN resolution that they're thinking about passing, where they're going to try and get these sex tourist guys for child support for these Taiwanese and other such women, where they go over there and knock up a chick? Yeah.
That's got to be coming from the WF or
How about
something.
not knock up a chick? What?
Good luck finding the guy. I mean,
Well, they're doing like DNA tests is the thing that they're saying that they're going to do.
yeah, but how do they get your DNA if like you're off in Neverland again? You hit it and quit it, flew back to your country. They don't even know what your name is. Like, how do they?
Just the fact that this is even like made it on the proposal table tells you all you need to know.
What's that one tweet about you again, or that you mentioned about Bangladesh?
Okay. Any woman in the world would care about some random woman on a dirt floor in Bangladesh than lose some weight. Yeah.
Next on the list, guys. A few of you guys have been there. At least, I know Cappy and Thor have to be there with Fresh and Fit. We have Miami, Florida, with 1.08 single women per single man. You have South Beach is a place to meet chicks. Brickell and Wynwood. Wynwood rather. I've never been to Miami though. So, Cappy, you've been there a few times for your Fresh and Fit crew. How was the scene with the hose?
Very fun. But I'll tell you, I think you hit it. It's hose. Yeah, I had a great time every time I go there. But I know I'm gonna sound real old. I love it because I got a great running route, and there's a lot of coffee stores. You can just sit and have coffee in Brickell.
Yep.
So there are a lot of women. There is a lot of professional women there, especially the Brickell district. South Beach is incredibly expensive. And yes, there are a lot of attractive women that you could ask out. The target rich environment. Only thing I would say is, and this may come with, you have like the hottest nightclub effect. Right now, Miami is the hottest nightclub in the United States, along with Las Vegas. And the girls kind of know it. And not to have the selection of girls that Fresh and Fit have on their show because it's biased. But if you go out on a Friday or Saturday night into the Brickell district, it's going to be a lot of attitude and a lot of it's more 304s than it is, I would probably say, professionals working in Dallas or Austin to what Nuke would compare. So it really is more of a nightclub, I'd say, down in Miami than it would be necessarily a great place to ask girls. If you were going to go down there and ask girls out, do it during the daytime. The nighttime, they got their bitch shields up. It's basically a large nightclub. So, but yes, if you absolutely go out during the daytime If it's lunchtime, yeah, a lot of professional gals with jobs, and I would absolutely recommend Miami. Yep.
Well, this brings up an interesting.
I gotta get going, guys. But it's good to be on. Thanks for having me on. I gotta go and drill concrete. I'll see you guys.
All right, see you, Cappy.
This brings up an interesting. It brings up an interesting point that Cappy raised, is that it's not just the ratio of men to women, it's the kind of women that you're dealing with as well. I mean, I imagine, like, let's take it's not just about, like, you know, the attitude, like Cappy was just saying about like 304s, but it's also like the age. You know, like, it's going to be different if you're in like in a college town like Tampa Bay versus New York City, right, where the women are going to be a little bit older. You know, so it's not just about the ratio. There's other things that need to be considered.
Yeah, it's like I said, the more south you go, the friendlier they tend to get, the better in shape they tend to get, etc., etc. Like, reconnaissance is important when you care about dating. Location, 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 location. It's logistics all the way through.
I find that women tend to stay in shape when there's more competition with other women.
Latin America.
That's why
that's absolutely true.
That's why when you come out to the sticks, right, out to the cow pasture, there's a lot of fucking cows out here, and that's because there's not like the population's not that big, so there's not as much competition with other females, so they let themselves go. They're like, why even try? But you go to a city like San Diego, which isn't on the list, but you go to a city like San Diego, and like all the chicks have, you know, hard bodies and stuff there, and they take
go to like San Juan, Puerto Rico, where if there's this thing where like women don't like going with their boyfriends to like cities where there's a lot of hot women sometimes, because like if you go to like Mexico City or San Juan, Puerto Rico, or any major city in Brazil, the women, like if you go to a convenience store where you're just trying to pay for like a beer or a cigarette or cigarettes, the women there are just as hot as your girlfriend or hotter. Just a normal girl working at a convenience store. So it's like Latin America is a hyper. It's a very good example of yes, there is a good ratio, but also it's like the type of women that are there will regulate the sexual market for you, meaning that the dread is already in place, right? Dread is already in place, because if you're chilling with a girl at your place and she's like, "Can you go get me something to eat?" or you go across the street to the gas station and get me something, you're like, "Sure," and you go, and the girl there is just as hot as your girlfriend. That's dread right there. She knows that every woman is capable of taking you away, you know. Girl brain.
That's what I was getting at earlier, Nuke. It doesn't matter if they're fat, ugly, or have, you know, a scar on their face. The women don't see it that way when the woman is interested in, you know, a little bit of your riz. It doesn't even matter, even if they're old. That kicks in right away, or it starts to build, and that just changes everything in your favor.
Yeah. So for relationships, like cities like Miami is great if you're in a relationship, because your girl is going to hold on to you for dear life because there's so many hot women around. That's, you know, like LA, New York, like your girl will hold on to you. Like my friends back when I was living in Puerto Rico going to college, right? Their girls would text them 5 times a night, nonstop. Just, "Hey, are you coming home yet? Okay, cool. I'll talk to you later. Hey, it's getting kind of late, you know." And I'll be like, and I tell them like, "Dude, like, what's going on?" And then I look around and I'll be like, "Oh, these are some of the hottest Latinos in the world. That's why the girls are texting 5 times a night. I get it now." It makes sense.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Drake game works. All right, next on the list here would be good. I have a client who lives out in this area, so if you're watching, bro, Baltimore, Maryland, 1.07 single women per single man. So you've got Fells Point, Canton Square, and Federal Hill are some places that you can meet chicks there. Have any of you guys been out to Maryland?
Not recently.
Just passing through. Yeah.
That's pretty close. Like the guys that I talked to out in that area, they just sort of, they go to all the different places there, right? They'll go to Washington, D.C. because it's just down the street. They'll go to Virginia and stuff. It's like,
they go to New York because the train ride is really short to New York. It's like 2-hour train ride, I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone who's taken the Amtrak, but I think it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, they're close to DC too. It's like the
hour flight to New York,
difference.
so you can go. Yeah, you can go to New York 1 hour. Boom. I think it's less. I think it's like 45-minute flight to New York or something.
East Coast is funny. It's a lot like Europe, right? Where everything's so close together. All the states are tiny. And then you come out here to the West and the states are fucking vast as hell. Takes 5. People ask me, they're like, hey, you're going to be in Denver? And I'm like, Denver's 5 hours. It's a 5-hour drive for me. Like, I'm not, I'm not driving to Denver. Fuck off. No.
Yeah.
We have San Francisco. You might have to do the old Crocodile Dundee check in San Francisco, but 1.06 single women per single men. We don't have any idea if these are biological single women or not. It's a toss up there, San Francisco. But you have the Mission District, North Beach, and the Marina. You also have to walk over piles of shit in the streets and heroin needles. But the ratio, man. Let's just skip that one. Seattle, Washington. Have you guys ever been to Seattle?
God, every one of these fucking cities that you listed all fucking suck.
I heard the women are very, very loose in the Pacific Northwest. Like my brother went a year and a half ago, and he showed me like he was on a trail and the girls were topless, just chilling, smoking weed.
Yeah, good problem to have.
If you're a true degenerate, like the Pacific Northwest is good for you. But the crime and the poop, like if you want to deal with the crime and the poop.
I don't know where's TJ Martinell? Yeah, he's up that way, Pacific Northwest.
It is beautiful for hiking. It is for like.
I went to Seattle once for work.
How is TJ doing anyway? You still talk to him, huh?
Yeah, he writes for my Substack fairly frequently.
I was just about to say I haven't talked to him in ages.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Carry on, Paul. You went to Seattle once? Yeah.
Yeah, back when I was married though, and I was a fat fuck. I went to Seattle. A company that I worked for sent me up there for a project, and I spent a couple of days there. And yeah, the chicks are. I mean, they're all liberal, right? So they all got the fucking septum piercings and like weird facial tattoos and shit. But other than that, they're pretty hot. Like there's. They have the hairy armpits and the hairy legs because of feminism, but other than that,
so I need a machete to cut through to get to their vag, eh? That fucking sucks.
Yeah. Next on the list is Nuke's place, though. It's Dallas, right? 1.04 single women per single man. Now, Nuke, this is what my research, and by research I mean AI, has told me. These are the 3 places to meet chicks: Deep Ellum, Uptown, and Bishop Arts District. Is that accurate?
Damn it. Shit. I might dox myself here. How many people are
how
watching?
You answer this. Be careful how you
How
answer
many people are watching this right now?
I go
for 2 of my followers. 2 of my followers live on my street. Like they were like, "Hey, Nuke," and I'm like, I like froze up and everything. But I will say this: Deep Ellum is very crime ridden. Do not, unless you're going on a Sunday morning or weekend mornings to go like for coffee or anything. Stay out of Deep Ellum at night. Don't park your car there. I know there's this kind of like there's all these articles that say Deep Ellum is one of the best places in the country to hang out. No, it's not. It's chaotic. There's like 20 police on each corner because people just can't stop fighting. There's shootouts all the time. Literally is the biggest lie. Do not go to Deep Ellum to hang out. I go on Wednesdays for salsa night, but that's because it's Wednesday. And even then, I'm in and out. I don't like hang out on the street corner. I don't like, and I'm around people that, probably are armed too. So, and all that stuff. But for the most part, yeah, don't go to Deep Ellum. Uptown,
Seems like there's a consensus here.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like Uptown is where I live, right? Guys, don't come searching for me, and if you do, please be respectful. It is the best place that I've ever seen in my whole life. The hottest. If you like blonde women, Bishop Arts and Uptown Dallas, McKinney Avenue. Michael Sartain even said it in one of his podcasts. This is the place to be. The women here are like 5'10", blondes, in shape, professional, smart. There's not a lot of Latinas in this area, right? Because Latinas tend to like stay closer up, it more in the suburbs because of family and stuff. But um, this is the place. However, it is expensive, but it is one of the best communities I've ever seen my whole life for like a young guy that likes like white girls. Like it is pretty amazing. It's very dog friendly if you have a dog. Um, Everyone also is very friendly here. The SMU girls, that's where George Bush, his family goes to school, is SMU. They all come down here. Sorority girls, they come in buses here to hang out, whether it be at the park or at the clubs. Um, there's some good restaurants here. Not the best, but there's some good restaurants. You have Katy Trail. So if you like kind of more of like a fit kind of community hangout, there's a Katy Trail Ice House. Um, Great place to hang out, to have a cold one. It's like a campground vibe. Like if Red Hawk ever came to visit me, or Jack or any of you guys, I would take you there because it's a very relaxed campfire kind of Texas feel to it, and it's in the middle of the city, so it's great. And it's just walking distance from where I live. Um, Great places to approach women would be Whole Foods, although Whole Foods here is very like, the women are kind of like busy and stressed out. Professional women tend to be more busy and stressed out at these places. The only issue is that on weekends at Bishop Arts Pelham and Uptown is that, like many other cities, um, the riffraff comes because they see these places as these luxury places where they get dressed really nice and they can act a fool. It gets to the point where like I'm trying to drive home and there's people in the middle of the street because they think that my street is like open for pedestrians. I'm like, no, this people live here. Like people live here. You cannot just hang out in the middle of the street. Like continue, like stop blasting your stupid music. Stop revving your engines. My dog is terrified now. Thanks to the riffraff. So with any city, uh, Fort Worth Playboy talks about this too, and he lives 20, 30 miles away from me too. And maybe AJ, who's in the chat, he lives in Fort Worth too. Um, it's not a smart thing to go out on the weekends in the city unless you have to, right? Um, Obviously, there's cool events and cool things happening, right? But the riffraff migrates to the nice areas, right? So if you're on a date with a girl on a weekend, their parking is an issue. There's shitty people. There's thugs out. There's people that come to the nice areas because they want to hang out. So make sure try to get your dates in from Monday to Thursday. If you're dating, so on the weekends, spend time like streaming, hanging out with your friends, doing stuff outside of the city, like hunting, fishing, maybe going to travel to see a friend that weekend. And then your Monday through Thursday are the best days to hang out. And this applies to any city because let's say you do find a good area within a city, right? And you're dating, it will be hard when there's no parking, when there's riffraff walking around. And I think that time is better allocated to building your own maybe business. Maybe you want to stream, maybe you want to write, maybe you want to do, or maybe you just want to hang out inside and catch up on your video games and shows. But I realize that there are good and bad areas, but the people from the bad areas are always going to come to the good areas and cause trouble. We're at 4 clubs now in this area have been shut down due to shootings. And we're all like normal people here that with decent paychecks. So it's like, how does this happen? This is what they do, right? And I love how smart people are here in this area. They station police in front of these places so the riffraff stops coming, right? Because some of the riffraff doesn't even have ID, so they can't get in, right? And they're like, oh, there's police there. I have my drugs on me, my gun or whatever, so I got to stop going. So eventually the clubs go out of business because the riffraff that they serve goes away and then they close down. And it works like a charm. So just a side note for the guys. If anyone wants to come to Dallas to live, I can give you the lowdown on how life is here. I recommend it for everyone, honestly, because it's not too Austin and it's not too Houston. It's like right in the middle. There's corporate bros. There's cowboy culture still alive here. You can like I was the other day. I was with Governor and Cappy, and Governor was carrying, and we were at a cigar lounge. No one cared. In Fort Worth, right? And I didn't even know he was carrying until he walked me to the parking lot, and I'm like, "Oh shit, dude!" And then he showed me his firearm and all that stuff. But I think it's a great city. It's just you got to be tactical, you got to be smart, you got to move intelligently because, like, you see how everyone says Deep Ellum is a great place to live, and I'm just like, and I'm telling you, Like I wouldn't be caught dead. You got to pay me to go to Deep Ellum, and that's 5 minutes across the highway drive for me. You got to pay me to go there on a weekend. Not even with the hottest chick. If she invites me, I'll go because it's just too dangerous. It's just a waste of your time. So,
all right. Next on the list here is a little closer to RP Thor's area. We have Los Angeles, California, 1.03 single women per single man. There, you might also have to do in some places, you might have to do the Crocodile Dundee check. But you have Hollywood, Santa Monica, and West Hollywood. What do you think about that, RP Thor? You're on mute.
I would certainly stay away from West Hollywood because the ratio is probably non-existent for women at that point. But the rest of LA, it's pretty good. It's a very densely populated area. Yeah, I mean, malls, strip malls, lots of places. I mean, they're California chicks, so it's okay. I don't know. The ratio is almost 1-to-1, really, of women out here. You'll go into spots since it's such a large state. I imagine Texas is like this too. City to city is different. You'll have areas where it's highly densely populated, and you might have a large ratio of women to men, or even vice versa. I know that there's some cities here that have a lot of work and used to have a lot of manufacturing work, such as down south of me, and there's too many guys. That's where they go to get work because the pay's good, the work's hard. So you got to do a little bit of research if you want to come out to California. But California girls, man, there's a song about it.
That's right. They'll melt your popsicle.
Exactly.
I've been to LA a number of times. I used to live in San Diego, and it's a 2-hour drive north to go up to LA, and traffic up there is fucking horrendous.
San Diego is way better.
Yeah. Well, San Diego, 10 years ago was nice. Now it's a total shithole. Every time I go there, which I haven't been in several years, I've gotten to avoid it. But the company I work for, like the main office is out there in San Diego. So I used to have to go back quite a bit. And when I go jog, like they have tent cities and stuff that the city allows, and it's just a total fucking shithole now. But that's California. That's what you get.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I like North County though down there. I think North County's still pretty good.
Yeah, and I used to live in Escondido.
Okay.
I had a house in Escondido. But I haven't been up to Escondido in quite a while. And even that, it's got a shitty neighborhood. I remember when we bought our house in Escondido. When I would drive to the house, like I would drive the south way to get to my house, and you go through like this rich area of Escondido, like football players would live over there, and then you'd go in, and it was nice. But when the realtor was showing my now ex-wife and I the house, she would always take us up through the north part of Escondido, which is a total shithole, and drive back down through south to the house. And so my ex-wife, when we would go there, she's like, I don't know if we should live in this neighborhood. I'm like, well, that's because the realtor is trying to sell us a more expensive house in the south. And so she's showing you the shitty neighborhood, but if you go this way, we live in a nice neighborhood here. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's nice. That whole Fallbrook area is really nice. So
yeah, Fallbrook is the avocado capital of the United States. So we have Charlotte, North Carolina. Anybody been to Charlotte? It's 1.02 single women per single man. You have Uptown, Noda, and South End are the places to go. So you've been there, Nuke?
Well, I went to go see a girl there. I didn't, because I was training at Nuke School in Charleston, South Carolina at the time. Yeah, so the Carolina cities, there's like this weird transition from being like north, like they have palm trees there, like palmetto trees. It's just very interesting, very colonial, but still kind of like becoming more tropical and all that stuff. So it's a very interesting vibe.
Yeah, there's South, like, but they're not South culture.
Yeah.
There's something there's something different going on in North Carolina. It's like you take New England, you drop it in the South, but the people aren't as insufferable. It's interesting.
But what I've noticed about the South Carolina cities is that the people are dressed. I've never seen people dress so nice. Apart from Europe, like I've never seen people dress so nice than in Charleston and Charlotte, like in the downtown areas. Like you have the Marines, you're like there. I think there's a Marine base there too. The women are all in very elegant. I don't know how it is now. That was like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. But the people tend to like dress really nice for some reason in these downtown areas. Like it's pretty interesting. So I'd say, yeah, it's like there's kind of classy girls there. I don't know. I would say
you would have some southern belles there. You think?
Yeah, because it's
some
like
traditional women that want to serve you some grits. I don't know.
yeah. Like there's the southern twang starts there. Like the girls start using that. You'll see a lot of southern twang, in the speech and all that stuff. So that's where it starts, I think, on the way down from the northeast.
You know, it's funny. I just thought of this. My grandma, she's from Jersey, so she had a real thick Jersey accent, and she used to hate Southern girls, and she hated the Southern belle sound voice. For whatever reason, that was her sticking point. She's like, "Oh,
it's adorable. I love girls with Southern twang and all that stuff. It's just like I thought at first it was weird, but then I'm just like, I don't know. It's just nice. Like it's nice to have a woman speak.
I dig it.
Like I don't mind it.
Next on the list, we have Houston, Texas. 1.02 single women per single man. You have Midtown, Washington Avenue, and Rice Village are good places allegedly to meet chicks there. You ever get down to Houston, Nuke?
Yeah, it's biggest syphilis outbreak right now. And yeah, like remember the CDC that everyone like bowed over was everyone's god during the pandemic. Like CDC, tell us what to do next. The CDC put out a statement saying, "Hey, ladies, stop having sex in Houston because the syphilis outbreak is out of control and your babies are at stake, right? Because syphilis really harms pregnant women." And they're like, "Nope, don't care. Gonna still keep having unprotected sex." So it's just like CDC is only good when it's like to control people and get them inside. But when it's like, hey, stop having sex, unprotected sex, ladies, they're like, no, fuck you. It's this. So guys, if you're going to date in Houston, wrap it up, please, for the love of God. Because a lot of these cities, yeah, that's another thing. Forgot to mention. If you're going to go to a city, check out the STD rates. That will tell you a lot about the culture there in terms of dating.
Where do you find that?
CDC. Just go to CDC. Okay. I'll post an article in the private chat about the syphilis outbreak. It's been going on for years, and it's classified as a pandemic, like medically classified as a pandemic. So everyone's so focused on COVID and monkeypox, but like, guys, like syphilis is a thing. I see the billboards here when I'm driving home from work, and protect yourselves because a lot of these cities are full of STDs. So
women are the real pandemic, as proven again.
Yes.
That pussy. We've got Chicago, Illinois. This is a place where you could get shot too. Chicago, Illinois, 1.01.
I just like the way Rose. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom. The way you were so nonchalant. Hey, this is a place you get shot too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll shut up now.
What 1.01 single women per single man? You have River North, Wicker Park, and Lincoln Park are places in Chicago. I've been to Chicago a couple times, both times with the military. Went up there once before I joined the Navy. I had a friend that was going to Navy boot camp, so I went up to Great Lakes, and then we hung out in the city that day. And so Chicago's interesting, it's an interesting place. But I've never went there like cruising for chicks, so I can't speak to that. We have Oakland, California, 1.01 single women per single man. That's a place you can get shot too. This is great. This list is awesome.
I'm putting it in the private now, Thor. Okay. I know you weren't. It's a It's an article from UT Health, but several news and health organizations have covered it. There's going to be a little blackpilling. They started discovering it because babies were coming down with it when they were born.
Wow.
That's how they were like, wait, what's going on? And then they started like testing, and it's 128% increase from like prior years. So yeah, be careful in Houston, guys. Wrap it up.
Wow. Yeah, syphilis is nasty too. It's one of those few STDs where like there's no cure for it and it'll make you go crazy. It's
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some STDs where guys are afraid of it, but it's like, yeah, it can be cured with penicillin. Don't worry about it, right? But like
Or herpes might not even ever show up, but syphilis looks painful.
Oh man, syphilis will rot your brain.
right.
It's messed up. It's
Yeah.
Didn't they kill Nietzsche?
Herpes, you can't cure it, but you could live with it, right? It could be treated, and then but syphilis and HIV, wrap it up, guys. Even if you have the vasectomy, like Rolo said, wrap that shit up if you're out there spinning plates. Okay?
Doesn't 90% of the world have syphilis or something? Like if you have had a cold sore, congratulations, you have herpes. Sorry, you have herpes. Like doesn't 90% of the world have herpes?
Yeah,
Technically, that's
actually
true.
same with HPV. HPV like it's really prevalent like in women. So that
HPV women can only get HPV a certain amount of times before they become infertile. So enjoy, ladies. Keep having sex.
Yeah, essentially, if you had warts, you got HPV. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Here's the thing: a lot of the women that you see trying to do like fertility treatments and all that stuff, I have a sneaking suspicion it's because they've had HPV several times from promiscuity, and they're trying to become pregnant.
Yeah.
STD is a very under talked about topic. I know Sterling Cooper talked about it, but it's the aftermath of how it affects women's behavior and mindset in dating, right? Nothing will knock down a woman's SMV and her ability to get men than a herpes infection. They will literally like they won't be able to date the men they want. It's pretty sad because the choice they face is, do I lie to this guy? Do I like that I like?
Yeah.
Or because I know everyone thinks women are evil, but at the same time, women have a conscience, and like, from women that have admitted it to me before we slept, it's like they were in tears, and they said, "I told you because I liked you. I don't tell guys I don't like." And I was like, "Holy shit!"
Wow, whamming.
Wait, you were just saying
women
aren't evil? Could you rephrase that again?
Yes. Nurse Chick, you are right. Quoting Ryan Stone with that. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So Oakland is actually the last one on the list of a greater ratio of women to men. The rest of the ones on the list, I don't know why ChatGPT gave them to me, because they're all basically 1-to-1 or a little bit lower. But you have Denver with a 1-to-1, you have Phoenix with a 1-to-1, Minneapolis, Minnesota with a 1-to-1 ratio, and then you have Richmond, Virginia, which technically there's more single men. It's a 0.99 single women to single men, and then you have New Orleans with a 0.98 single women to single men. So that's the rest of the list, guys. Let's go and go around the horn and let's wrap this up now that Red Hawk's back. You guys didn't even know he was gone. You couldn't even tell because he doesn't have his camera on. But yeah, let's go around the horn. We'll start with Red Hawk since he is back. What do you got going on, and what are your final thoughts there, Red Hawk?
I think just the final thoughts over this whole conversation is, don't be judging the place you move just by the ratio of chicks. Don't make we talk about this in this space all the time. Do not make women the absolute center of your life. All right. There's 1,000,001 reasons to move to a city, and maybe, the ratio of chicks is 20th on that list. If that, you notice how all these cities we've been talking about, they all fucking suck, but they have good ratios of women. So trade-offs, right? Anywho, if you guys want more of my stuff, just check me out, the Old Glory Club. These days, streams every Thursday, talk about American politics and such. So that's where you can find most of my stuff these days.
All right, sounds good. Thor, what do you got going on, brother?
Well, I'm working on our project, and feel free to talk about it if you want. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but you can find me at becomedurable.com. There's some new free content in there, particularly an hour-long webinar I did is now up on there, and it takes you to my private YouTube where it talks about weapon safety and things like that, so I don't get demonetized, but it's good stuff. Guys, the title of the show today, Top 20 USAs where single men have the dating advantage. I'll tell you a little secret. Men don't realize men always have the dating advantage. We're the deciders. Anyway, Skull. See you on the dragon ship.
Nuke, what do you got going on? What are your final thoughts?
Do your front work, do your homework when you're gonna move somewhere. You got to know what you want too, right? What type of woman do you want? What type of job do you want? What type of friends do you want? Right? Like Miami. I don't think I'd probably find good friends, right? But like I like kind of the type of people I meet here because they have the same professions as me and all that stuff. There's so many things, like Hawk was saying, there's so many things to look at before going to a city. But make sure you know who you are as a person. Like make sure that your revealed preferences for things are known to yourself, because if not, you don't want to move somewhere, invest all that money and time and energy just to hate it. Right. And then look at what the consciousness of humanity is doing in your country, or if everyone's leaving California, it's probably for a reason, right? There's probably something up with that. If a lot of guys are going to Austin and thriving, it's probably because it's probably good for people like you. And within these cities, there's always pockets of high performing people and hot chicks. That's where you want to be as close as possible. The suburbs are good, right? But I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't sit down, do the research, and live where the fish where their fish are at. So that's all I got.
All right, Jack Napier.
Yes.
What do you got going on? What are your final thoughts?
Substack. New Substack is being posted tomorrow. Tomorrow morning for you guys, Sunday morning. So go follow me there. And that's what I've got going on. Had a red evening in my channel. Links will be there. But if you really want to be updated on my stuff, go to the Substack. Other than that, final thoughts. Go to where the women are. Ian Ironwood used to write about it. Go to where you're treated best. Do some reconnaissance. Cappy wrote a great book about it. And you'll figure it out. That's my final thoughts.
I'll second that. Cappy's book is really good on this topic.
Yeah.
I sort of am of the mindset that it doesn't fucking matter where you're at. If you learn game, you'll do fine. My whole course is based on this. It's no cold approach to the cow pasture. If you can find hot chicks in the middle of fucking nowhere, you can find chicks anywhere. Okay. I show you how to do it. If you do live in a bigger city, this course will be even better for you. Okay. So check that out. dates.comeonmanpod.com. And other than that, tune into the Dragon Ship shortly after this at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm hosting today, and we will be discussing why you mustn't be scared of your girl's emotions. And we're going to go through all sorts of scenarios where women use their emotions to manipulate you. And so if you can learn how to be indifferent, how to agree and amplify, how to handle shit tests, how to be assertive, all that kind of stuff, they can't do it. All right. So we're going to talk about that. Tune into my podcast Monday. I'm continuing my Book of Puck series. If you guys aren't familiar with the Book of Puck, it's a must read in this space. We're going to be going over chapters 42 and 43 in the paperback. And for the love of God and all things holy, become a channel member. Okay. I've got 5 out of 10 for my goal. So I just need 5 more. Become a channel member, and you guys get access to all my old archived episodes. New episodes are only free for the 2 weeks, first 2 weeks going forward. Then they're only for members after that.
And Paul's new members get my version of the Book of Puck audiobook for free. There you go.
Yes, which every time I do a Book of Puck episode, I plug Jack's book.
No, if they become members of your channel, they get it for free. I posted the link in the private community. You can post that on your membership panel.
Super good value.
Thanks, Jack Napier. That's nice of you. Yeah, because you guys can't, if you guys like audiobooks, you can't find this on Audible. It's only available on Gumroad. So Jack did an excellent narration of that. So check that out. That's all I have, guys. We will see you over on the Dragon Ship, or we will see you guys next week on Rule Zero.
This has been Rule Zero. New episodes every Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Subscribe now.